Welcome everyone to Dragon Quest FM, where we talk about and obsess over Dragon Quest. I'm Austin,
I'm BJ.
and this week we are talking about The Mark of Erdrick, Volume 2,
One,
uh,
two.
which came out on December 23rd.
Yep.
So if you haven't checked this out already, maybe it's arrived at your house and you're reading it already. If you haven't, we're going to be like as spoiler free as possible
Yeah,
in
which
our
is hard to
like
do when you're talking about something that's the second volume in a series. So I mean, there's
yeah.
going to be some things if you haven't read the first one.
Yeah.
Um, but if you haven't read the first one or you haven't heard of these manga, you should go back and listen to our interview with the editor of this series, Jennifer Sherman, and you can hear all about it and see what's going on because this is volume two that we're talking about today. We didn't do an episode on one because we're us, but
Well, that counts as an episode on
it
one. I
counts as
mean,
an
we
episode on one. It
we
was.
talked
We just
about
didn't do just the
that
two of
volume
us on
quite a
it.
bit. We did not do just the two of us. That's true. Um, but yeah, this also shout out to Square Enix Books for sending us copies of the manga. They're really nice people.
Much love.
And let me just say immediately that like the quality is so phenomenal in these books. Like I read this like I guess what's it been like 3 weeks ago now,
Yeah, it's been a bit.
and I was pulling it off my shelf to get it ready for this episode, and it's
Yeah.
sitting there beside a lot of my other manga. It's sitting between the Dai manga
Mhm.
and the big like Viz Dragon Ball collections,
Oh
like
yeah,
three in
yeah,
one.
yeah.
I have those all lined up so you can see the like the side art,
Hmm.
kind of like these have, where it's like a running image. And I have that all, and it's just like the the quality here is like noticeably better than
Better.
those, and those are fine. Like, don't get me
Hmm.
wrong. Like, I mean, that's like pretty, standard, good quality, manga.
Yep.
It's just like for whatever reason, they went like above and beyond with not just like the covers and everything, but just like the actual
The
pages,
paper
the
quality on them
illustrations.
feels
Yeah.
a lot more solid than other manga that I've got. And I made one mistake reading this when I was reading through this, because I hate creased spines on things that look really high quality on the
Oh
shelf.
yeah.
And like,
I
I
did
don't
not do.
mind breaking a spine on a paperback. Like, I have no problem. But when it's something I actually want to keep, I'm generally really careful. And
Mhm.
about halfway through, I don't know if it shows up on camera at all. About halfway through, right here, I can put my fingernail in it. I've cracked the spine because I
Mhm.
got so interested in reading it that I held it open and I heard, and I was like, no. And I was like, there's going to be a single line down through this on my manga shelf.
So mine does not have a cracked spine, but that's how I read all books. Not even like it doesn't matter the quality of them. Like I could get a book used and I'm
Yeah.
like going to be very careful about it, and it kills me. My wife and I, this is the biggest argument we have in our marriage, and that's not hyperbole. Like literally we argue about this all the time. When she reads a book, her first thing she does is she takes it and she pries it open and cracks that spine just as much as she possibly can. And
Why?
then and she dog ears pages.
I
She's a
dog ear
psycho.
pages.
She's a psychopath. I don't know. It kills me. And so like it's really funny because you can look at books that I had when I was like in second grade, right?
Right.
And like yeah, the pages may look a little aged now, but like otherwise they're like pristine condition, right? And I was in second grade.
Yeah,
And then
this is
you
like
look at
not printed on acid-free paper or something. Like these are just books you had, so they've
what
aged and
I
look
just mean,
like.
well, I just mean like as an 8-year old, I could
Oh,
take
gotcha.
better care of my books than my wife can in her 30s. And she like you can look at a book that she read like yesterday, and it looks like someone just like beat it up like completely,
Man.
and it kills me. But to the point, like we argue about this sometimes because she'll want to read a book that I just read and everything. And I'm like, I think you want to, I would rather you check that out from the library. And she's like, you won't let me read it. And I'm like, no, I'm like, I don't want you touching it. Or like, and I got really mad at her because she read my copy of It, which was a first edition hardcover. Okay. And
Oh no.
I read through all of it and kept it in like pristine condition. and she got like watermarks on some of the pages, and like the spine looks really rough and she's like, with the dust jacket on, you can't tell a difference. And I'm like, but I
But
know,
it's
like I know,
there, it's done. I
like
mean, and I know
like
that's what the dust jacket is for. I know it is there to protect the hardcover and prevent you from seeing any kind of imperfections that may happen. But oh my goodness, that would hurt me.
yeah.
That and I don't mind it. Like I dog ear pages all the time. Like if it's a book that I am again not going to be doing as something that I'm keeping on my shelf, like one of these, where it's like if it's something that I'm just reading through and I don't think I'm ever going to come back to it, or I'm gonna like end up donating it to the friends of the library or something, I'm gonna dog ear the page instead of reaching around and finding whatever bookmark I have or anything like that. But something like this, I kept a skinny mini in as a bookmark through. I was like, I'm not doing that to this one. I had a little ghost guy, a little acrylic miniature, just sitting. There he is. Uh, just sitting on my thing. This was my bookmark for this one. Little ghost guy was keeping my place, and I would put it in. And even then, I thought, man, he's a little thick to be putting in there. Look what it does to the pages, Austin. Y'all watching video, you'll see. Like it's just a little bit thicker than a typical bookmark that you use, and I'm like, oh man, is that going to stretch the spine out some and mess up the pages? It didn't. It did not. But then I ended up ruining it myself. So
So I promise we're going to talk about this manga and not just our reading habits. But really quickly, I have to say, I use those like when you open packs of Pokemon cards, you get like the
like the
code to
code card.
TCG Live.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have so many of those that a lot of times we use them as bookmarks because we don't really use them.
Right.
Like if I think about it, sometimes like my friend Cody, I've sent him codes before. Platy, I know I
Mhm.
sent him quite a few codes because I know his kids play. Like sometimes I'll do that, but like sometimes it's just like, man, I don't have time to sit here and take photos of
Right.
like 50 cards, or whatever. And so what we will do is we use them as bookmarks to the point that my kids don't even, I think, realize what they are. Like when we open Pokemon packs,
Yeah.
Rowan just straight up calls them bookmarks. Like when she opens
Oh
Pokemon packs to
wow,
show people what she got, she's like, "There's the energy, there's the bookmark. Here's," and she starts showing hers. Yeah. So,
man.
um,
See, and I
anyway,
would I would rather have the energy as bookmarks. Like I used to use lands from Magic. I would have like a really pretty island picture, like because I was a blue player, so I would
mhm.
uh have an island in there, like specifically from I think it was Unglued, the first set offset they did that had the no, it was Portal. It was Portals that I had the island from that I did. Now this was like 25 years ago
we the thing with
that I kept for a
energies
long time.
the thing with energies though is that like while we do have plenty, I haven't felt like we've quite reached the
Oh,
like we
you
have
don't
too
have
many yet.
extras?
But there's
Yeah.
like five of us in the house, and we all like we will actively like play with each other, like play the actual
Okay.
card game. So like we
Yeah.
use those energies, and we
So
just
it's not
haven't
like you just
gotten
have one or two decks around. Like you actually have things built that you can pick up and play. So that makes
right. Yeah,
sense.
yeah. So and like a couple of years ago, I even like went through and like built like, okay, here's like a fighting deck, here's a psychic deck,
Okay. Yeah.
stuff
So
like that for
you,
my kids. And then also we've given them energy cards, and they like mix and match and make their own little decks and
mhm,
stuff. So we just haven't reached that point yet where
right.
like I'm sure eventually, but right now it's like when we
Oh
get
yeah.
energies, like somebody still claims them. Like I have plenty,
Right.
but my kids are like working on their own collections. But like the TCG Live code, like none of us use
None
that.
of you are going to
And
use that. I
so
mean, they're honestly throwaway cards, especially one, if you use the code. Like you've still got the card there. So, but
yeah, and
yeah,
that's
that
what I did for the longest time is I would take the time to redeem the code, and then by a certain point it was like we never play this. And so I just started offering them to other people or,
yep. I have a
not.
stack of them
So
that Riley gave me when we were both playing the TCG online.
if you're listening to this and you collect those, like hit me up on like Twitter or Blue Sky or like YouTube in the comments or whatever, and I'll try to find a way to send some over to you because like honestly, like we open packs pretty regularly and like
And
never
apparently
use
zero
those.
of them get redeemed, so they're just sitting there. And I'm going to say because as much as I've known you over the last and I've known you for years and years and years, like
Mhm.
17 years now, but it was 16. And it the last 5 years specifically, you've opened a lot of Pokemon cards. So I'm going to say that even no matter when you're listening to this in the future or not, you can still probably drop a comment or a mention on social and let him know, and he's probably still got extra codes.
Especially as like new TCG sets come out,
Uh-huh, yeah.
we always have like a ton of that. But anyway, so getting into the book part of it,
Yep.
too, one thing I wanted to show before I put my book away is that like that there's actual some like full color illustrations here.
Which is
Um,
great. That was actually that was a big surprise for me because I didn't think there were gonna be because they came relatively late in the book for when I thought they were gonna
well,
actually show
Jennifer had
up. I mean,
told
it's
us
midway through, but
like Jennifer had told us, I thought I didn't listen to that episode
right,
after we chatted with her, but I thought she said that they had them in everyone,
right.
not just the
I thought it
first
was
that
just
she
the
showed
first
us.
one, but they're
So
so
like,
pretty.
yeah, some of them are like actual panels that BJ's showing there, and then there's like kind of artwork towards the back too that shows you um different things. There's Bunny Girl, Rabbit Girl, as they're called in the
Yep.
latest game. But yeah, so like that was all really cool. Um, I think that I don't want to do story spoilers here since this like
Right.
just came out, but
Just came out.
I will say that like Mark of Erdrick, I find the story to be infinitely more engaging than Dragon Quest Adventures of Dai.
Yep.
I loved the DQ Monsters Plus manga.
Hmm.
It's fun.
Right.
This is more like
This is
in
a
depth.
traditional shonen
Like
manga. Like
this is
it's not
legit. Yeah.
a it's violent. That there are some scenes that actually surprised me that would be in a DQ manga in this one when they were introducing one of the villains. I was like, oh, I clutched my pearls. And I was like, it really surprised me that for a DQ manga, it would have something so brutally violent. And not like graphic or anything, but it was just the actual violence that was being done.
And it's sad. Like this second
This is
volume.
sad.
If you read the first one already, awesome. If you haven't, read that one first and then read this one and make sure you have some like tissues handy. Because I was actually caught off guard a little bit by some of the like moments in
Yeah.
this one because it's only volume two. I was
Yes.
like, there's like those kind of emotional moments typically are built up. I feel
Yeah.
like much longer
A
over the
much
course of
longer,
manga.
many more volumes than this to make something that feels so impactful.
Yeah, and so I was kind of like when I got there's two moments which I'm not going to spoil here, but there were two different moments, and especially the final one when it happens because they leave it hanging.
Yep.
Is it going to happen? Is it not? And then when it finally does happen, I was like, dang,
It's
like
like, dang. Yeah.
sad.
It it really
I
surprised me that it actually went through with some of these moments that I didn't expect. That I fully expected it to be a resolution in a different direction
but it
than
has
what it
you
actually did.
hyped for volume three even more, I feel like.
It does, and I am really curious about how they're going to handle some of this stuff in volume three, because the first volume was good, and I really liked it, and I liked the characters, and this one made me emotionally invested in them a
Yeah.
lot more than the first one did. So if you've given the first one a try, enjoyed it for what it was, and had this typical shonen manga that's a strong DQ story, yeah, you'll really like the second one, I think, because it really brings together, it really provides some stakes, is the way that this one
I
works, I think.
think I know it's many volumes longer than this, but I
Hmm.
think for me it's that volume one is kind of like Star Wars. It's a New Hope, right? It's introducing this stuff and kind of
Yep.
getting you attached to it. And then volume two is Empire Strikes Back, where it's like, no, this is about to get real.
Yeah,
And
this is not the DQ monsters get knocked out kind of manga. This is an actual
and it still
series of
has
stakes.
and it still has I mean I feel like it's more serious than Die or
Yeah.
Monsters Plus or some of the other manga we've covered on here, but um it's more serious, but it still has jokes and it still has
Oh
there's still
yeah.
a sense of humor like throughout. It's just that there's like a certain, I feel like, emotional resonance that this manga has that a
Yeah.
lot of Dragon Quest manga has not had for me in the past.
Die felt like it's a manga that is a PG manga that you can honestly read or watch the anime with your kids. And this one feels like they took it up to PG-13 where you need to at least think about it. Where I don't think it's a necessarily an R rating or anything on this by far, but
I mean,
it's something
I would
that
let my
that's
kids read
but it's
it.
see, and I don't have kids, so I don't gauge that, but it is decidedly darker than Die ever got. Die
Yeah,
always felt just a little bit on the cartoonier side, and this feels a lot less of that.
I gotcha. Yeah. All right. So there is one thing that might be considered a spoiler, might not be. So if you're like fully want to go into this blind, maybe just skip ahead by like 5 minutes. But this is something I had to bring up. It's not necessarily related to the story so much, but um the sword, right? The sword
Right.
of Necros.
Yep.
Okay. There's a part where the sword like sprouts legs and becomes like a spider sword,
Uh-huh. It's
right?
awesome.
Like,
Like I
and it's
love it.
awesome. Yeah, that was like easily my favorite part. And it's one of those moments that, like, I know you're this way too, but sometimes you're reading or you see something and it's not just cool, but it's so cool that you're mad that you didn't come up with it.
Hmm.
That's how I
Yeah.
felt about the sword. I was like whether it's in,
How have I not done
TTRPG
this?
you wrote or like, fiction book I wrote, whatever. It's one of those things where it's like when I saw it, I was like, dang, that's
It's a
super
good one.
cool. Like I
Should
want that.
like it, and it's not like the in D&D or something where you have like the flying swords or something where they're just disembodied weapons that are flying around attacking you. It's like this is has sprouted monster parts and expanded what it's made of, and it looks really cool. And one of my favorite things about it is because I love like evil artifacts or ancient artifacts and named weapons in any kind of fiction that I'm getting into. And this one, they showed it near the beginning, and I loved the design. And I realized early on that the hilt and the crossguard are actually fingers of some like a forearm and fingers with a blade coming out of the palm between the fingers. And I was like, oh, that is this for a sword called Necros and that's like drinking blood. Like this is really cool. Like that is one heck of a design. And then when all of the other body parts started expanding out, where it was like this like spidery monster with the sword in the middle, I was like, and the eye that you saw there but didn't really think about as being an eye necessarily
It's
came when I was
eyes.
like looking
Yeah,
around.
multiple eyes.
It got creepy and good in
Like,
the best way. Like I love it.
yeah, it's like this insectile sword, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
And if you haven't watched this, I was showing pictures while BJ was talking, since this is a spoiler 5 minutes. But yeah, that was really cool. I
It
really
was.
like that sword, and I cannot express to you or anyone listening how angry I am that I didn't come up with it. Like it
Eh,
really is one of those things that sometimes I'll be reading a book or like comic, manga, whatever, and there's just like something cool that happens. I'm
mhm.
like, man,
Man,
wish I
I
had come
should have
up with
wrote
that.
that. I should have written that. And also, while we're still on the spoiler part of it, when the wielder got cut and it ate like sucked up his blood and then made his entire arm like this monstrous piece of armor, like
Hmm.
that's the cool stuff that I go for in this kind of storytelling. That is like, oh, now you're powerful, like this is awesome, like, and to see the extra design and stuff, like I love like the big ridiculous fantasy armor and like Dark
Hmm.
Knight armor. And so seeing that on top of the that came a little bit before the sword itself started fighting on its own, like that was definitely one of the highlights of the book to me. Like it looks really cool. And since let me see if I can find where that happened, since we are in spoiler zone. Um, but like you can see here if you're watching the video where it just like took over his arm and kind of made it an extension. The hand that was the crossguard and hilt there replaced his arm, and I was like, yeah, that's, and the eyes up on its shoulder. It's like I love this. Like I truly love this image in the book.
Yeah,
Like it's
I yeah. I mean, I love this book. I even told you the day I got it in the mail, I texted you because I was really excited.
yeah.
Spoiler section over, I guess. I think that was probably 5 minutes. Um, but I, I told you I was like, oh man, it came. I'm so
Mm,
excited, and like I seriously sat down and read it in essentially like one sitting. Like I
yeah.
took it. I like to read outside, especially in the winter when the weather's nice. And I like went outside and just like kind of kicked up and started reading it and didn't even like notice really how
Uh,
far into it I was getting. It
Time
was just kind of
passing.
like I
Yeah.
read it, yeah. And then I think it was Nora maybe came outside and like needed something, and
Yep.
so I like had to sit it down to like go in and help her with that, and then came back to it like just a little bit later and just completely finished it up,
Yep.
like essentially read it all in just like one sitting, like really quick, like
Right.
inhaled and I that's unusual for me because like I mean I like manga, don't get me wrong, and I like comics, but like whether it's that like the omnibus stuff with like X-Men
Hmm.
or the Dragon Ball 3-in-1, whatever, it's like I kind of pace myself and
Yeah.
it's like okay, I'll read like 2 issues and then I'll stop or
Yep.
I'll whatever. And I guess almost kind of like digest it a little bit. And I didn't with this.
I didn't.
I just inhaled it.
I was kind of the same way where I read it. I read a part of it, like the first like issue of it the day it came in, and then I didn't have time to sit down and do it, but so I marked my place and everything with the little mini, and then when I sat down again, I plowed through the entire rest of it in one sitting, where it drew me in and made me want to keep reading before I got to actual work that day. Like I sat down and started reading it in the morning before I got to work, and then I was just like, "Well, I'm finishing this before I go do anything else." It was that kind of book.
So 20-second spoiler here in the on video. But so there is like artwork in the back too,
Hmm.
like concept art, which I really like. And the other thing, so we did talk about the sword, but the other cool thing, the sand ship is super cool
Yeah,
too.
the sand ship is super cool. I like seeing the concept art of the sand ship too. Like that was actually cooler than the sand ship to me. And
I
I
I like that
love.
I like that it has kind of like the little outrigger
Mhm.
with it and everything. It's a cool idea. I really like the ship design.
It
And I like
reminds me a
ships.
lot of the sand ships in Avatar: The Last Airbender when from the sandbenders who come around. Like it really had that feel of it. I know it's all kind of that same vibe and aesthetic, but also, did you laugh when you read the afterword on this one? Where it was talking about all the lettering versus digital lettering, and it was like, and finding all of the art, whether it was like repairing the old original images that they couldn't find, and then trying to touch up digital images they had as they were going through this process. And they were talking about spending so much time on a piece of art that they didn't have the original of anymore, and then they found it, and they were just like, well, but what about all of the hours I just spent doing this? What do we do? And it was just funny to me how just that small look into how the production of this book goes, like Jennifer was talking about, with just the level of detail that they were spending to make this what it was, to not just be a simple reprint. And it was like, but which one of these is better, the touch up or the original, and how they did it? Like, I loved
Mhm.
reading the afterword on that one. I read it a couple of times. It was like, yeah, I get that. I get that. It's like, well, what about these dozens of hours I just spent on this page?
Yeah. Um, you remind you. I'm glad you told the story because I'd forgotten it. Like when you first initially just asked, like, did
Mhm.
you laugh at the afterward? I was like, oh man, I don't. It's been like 3 weeks. I don't
Yeah,
remember what
yeah,
the afterward said. But yeah, I always like that kind of behind the scenes stuff. Like, I'm the kind of guy that watches like all the bonus features.
yep.
Like I went like the Lord of the Rings extended edition that has like 19 hours of bonus features. I've watched them all
I thought it
like
had more than
mo
that,
more than
honestly.
once. I think it says 19 hours on the
Oh
box
wow.
set.
I
But
actually thought it was more like 40 hours.
I don't know, whatever it is, I've done it all at least twice. Like all the way through, and some, multiple times more than that. But yeah, I love that kind of behind the
Mhm.
scenes
Yeah.
stuff. Um, because to me, like the creation of the thing is like just as interesting
Mhm.
as the thing itself. So I really
Yeah.
like all that kind of stuff. Um,
That
yeah,
was that's one of my favorite things about when remakes like this come out, that
yeah.
you get a lot. I shouldn't say remakes, this is a reprint, but when they do new editions like this and they add anything like that in the concept art that's at the back of it. Like, I know you're crazy about art books and I really like art books, but like whenever I just pick up something, just a book of any kind that has illustrations and they show concept art, that's one of my favorite things in the entire book, is just seeing early iterations of character designs and being like, oh, that one would have been cool if you'd gone with. I wonder why you didn't go with that. Blah blah blah. Like, what was the technical aspect reasoning that you didn't go with this particular design? And it's like, I really like seeing stuff like that. And so there's that at the end of this book and the others. So y'all, if you're interested in that kind of thing, there is also that in the manga.
I think after having, read the first couple volumes, I think my thing is that this is a foolish hope probably, but I would love for them to have a video game of this because they did it with
Um,
Die, like console game. They did it
yeah,
with Die, and I didn't love that game. But Die was always kind of like I was kind of I like it fine, but
fine. Yeah,
fairly indifferent, I guess, compared to how some people feel about it. And but this is really good, and I'm like, this would make a really cool game,
yeah,
arguably darker than any other DQ game that we've
yeah.
seen, but still pretty cool. And I think it would also allow people to see like some of the designs here that they're using
Hmm.
feel more Final Fantasy than Dragon
They
Quest. And I think
I
I think you know what I mean by that,
I
right? And
do.
I think
They're
people will know what I mean by that. But
and they're the same monster designs. Don't get us wrong. Like, they're not like redesigning the monsters on a fundamental level. It's just the way
right.
that they're rendered look a little bit more like
Like
uh
monsters, like
monsters.
horrifying. Yeah.
Yeah.
But not even just the monsters, even the character
The
designs, like
characters, yeah.
like the villain and stuff like that, where it's like they use a
Super,
lot more like
super Final Fantasy look.
it's more pointed and like jagged
Hmm.
and stuff. Whereas a lot of times DQ stuff, I feel like with Toriyama especially is a little more rounded,
Hmm.
and
And
cartoony.
flowing. Like, there's a lot more of loose. Whenever it is sharp or something, it'll be a very smooth lead up and around, curved to the point or something like that. And there are a lot of sharp lines in this.
Where it looks like sometimes it looks like a Toriyama character, but wearing armor that was designed by Amano.
Yeah,
And anyway,
that's
yeah, it
fair.
looks cool. I like it.
One thing about this that I'd actually forgotten about, when it got to the color pages, I'm trying to
Mhm.
find those again as I flip through. That I didn't think about this until the very end, and I look here, and I'm showing the picture of the rabbit girl for those of you who are on the video, and I can't get it to focus right, but at the bottom of it here, it says Dragon Quest half, that it shows where it comes in the original timeline between Dragon Quest 3 and DQ1, where I realized that because they mention in this the Dragon Lord and all
Mhm.
of the him coming to power, and I just thought it was interesting that the art itself in it was actually labeled as Dragon Quest one half, uh,
Huh.
rather than like 3.5 or anything like that. That the seal that they do, the Mark of Erdrick for level 7, the seventh issue illustration, had Dragon Quest half on there. That really got my attention, where I was like, I knew where it came in the story, that this was after Erdrick had already done the thing, And but I thought it was interesting that rather than going into a 3.5, that it looped all the way around to be point 0.5, that it went to Dragon Quest half
Yeah.
rather than 3 half. And for some reason, I sat there and just looked at that and thought about the timeline so much, which actually then made me think more about the villains and everything as they were presenting everything throughout the book and the story.
And here you can kind of see the monster design that BJ was talking about, where, it's a little more evil looking than like this monster's typical design.
Yeah.
You also have, this is what I kind of meant by the armor, like it looks like a Toriyama character, but like a mono armor on.
Hmm. Where
Um,
that has very Kane vibes from Final Fantasy IV.
4, yeah, it
Yeah.
does. Yes, that's exactly what it reminded me of was Final Fantasy 4. Maybe it's because the moon is in the back Too. That probably helps.
Maybe so. Like it is. That's just a picture of Kane with a different face, but maybe so.
Yeah. Um, But anyway, I'm really like excited to see where this manga goes because I've
Yeah.
never like I don't know the full story of Mark of Erdrick, like Emblem of
Mm-mm.
Roto stuff. Like, I know quite a bit of the art. A number of years ago now, I read like a fan translation of like the first volume.
A long time
It was
ago
like
too. Like
2020, I think,
yeah.
is when it was. Maybe even 2019. I think it was 2020. I think it was during the pandemic, like
Mm,
lockdown, when I had a lot of free time on my hands. But anyway, like I don't know the whole story. I don't know where it ends or
right.
anything like that. So that's pretty exciting because I feel like with Die, like when that came out, like I kind of knew the story
Yeah.
already, and then going through and reading it, watching the show, it was kind of like this is really cool, but it's also kind of like a story I know already.
Hmm.
And this one I don't. So I think that has probably contributed to my
Of
overall
course.
enjoyment of it quite a bit more too, is that it's not based on a game or an anime or anything like that I've seen before, and I haven't like spent time on Wikipedia or anything
Yeah.
like that reading like a full synopsis
Yep.
of this manga. Because I'm just kind of wanting to see, where it goes. I will say my maybe one criticism I have as we run out of time here is that it makes me sad that we're having to wait so long between releases. And I understand these
Right.
are like high quality, you stagger them and that kind of thing. But like, I think volume two comes out in February or
Mm,
March. And I'm just like I finished this and I was like, I want to read it now. And I'm I tend to often be one of those people who like I want to read. I wait for a trilogy to get finished before I read it all or
right.
whatever. Like I want it to be done so that I can just inhale all of it. I don't like waiting for things,
Yeah.
and so it's killing me a little bit that we have to wait, a couple months between
Yep.
releases of these.
And obviously, you mentioned reading a fan translation. I like fan translations of things. I read more of the Dai manga translated by the fan than I have the actual official manga
I
translation.
think I may have two
And
actually.
it does go to show, I'm assuming the same thing for this, that the translation here is fantastic and is better in general, I think, than the fan translations. And I'm a fan of fan translations. Like I
For
love
this one,
playing games and everything. Like for this one, I haven't read
for
Mark of
this one
Erdrick,
specific,
but it's a very good translation on this. That the translation and editing and pacing and everything are done really well.
yeah, I tend to like fan translations as well. The only criticism I sometimes have of fan translations is they don't nail the tone
Hmm.
always. I think
Yeah.
generally Dragon Quest ones do, but especially when it's an instant of like maybe it's a fan of like they don't know Dragon Quest game side of it. They're like
Right.
doing it from, a fan of manga or anime or
Hmm.
whatever. I feel like sometimes whether it's fan translations of the manga or like, the anime with subtitles or
Yeah.
whatever, like thinking about like Hero Able stuff
Yeah.
comes to mind here, where it's like sometimes doesn't quite always seem to nail the tone for me.
Right.
Um but
And
yeah, I
do you
mean,
remember that happening with this one when you read the fan translation of it?
no, I don't remember. I don't remember. I remember there being. I don't remember complaints with it. No, I remember
Yeah.
liking it. I honestly think the reason I quit is because I stopped being able to find like
Ah, yeah.
free able to read it for free online. And it was 2020 when I like lost my job. So I was
Yeah,
like,
so
I need free.
yeah, and so like I'm really impressed by the quality of this one. If you haven't read the first volume yet, you can read about half of it on the Square Enix book site. Like they have a digital copy up that you can read of the first third to a half of the original book.
Oh,
And
nice.
so like they have a lot up and it is really good. It loads really well. It has for me, and I read through that, and they had sent some really high quality renders for me to post up as a blog, and like they're good. And so if you're on the fence about this, like I don't know, I mean, if you're listening to a Dragon Quest podcast, there's a good chance that you're interested in the manga anyway. But if you just need your fix immediately, like you can go there and read a bunch of Mark of Erdrick right now, and it's very good and it'll get you at least the characters to know to start reading volume two, which I don't know why you wouldn't just go read volume one and finish it first. But if you decide not to for some reason, you just decide to start here, you would know the characters. And but it is cool that they have it up there to read. Like that's my point.
Yeah. So it's pretty new, but if you have managed to read this already, definitely let us know what you think. If you're watching this episode in the future and already read it, let us know what you think too. Um, We're at Twitter and Blue Sky at Dragon Quest FM. You can also comment on Spotify or on YouTube if you're watching it here. Wherever you're listening to this, watching this, whatever, please follow us, subscribe, do all the things because it helps us expand our reach to other people. If you want to talk to me personally and get Pokemon card codes or just nerd out about a variety of things, I am at Twitter or Blue Sky at Dragon Quasta.
And if you, wherever you are listening to this, if you could give us a rating, that would be fantastic. If you have the time to drop on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you are and drop us a review and rating, that would be fantastic. Those actually really do help get listeners when they see that other people are listening to it and enjoying it. So that would be great. And I am on Blue Sky at bjkgames.com and Twitter at bjkgames. We also have a Patreon if you'd like to support the podcast at patreon.com/DragonQuestFM.
Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, absolutely. Bye, y'all.